Hey everybody, Michael Kunman coming to you today from Perth Golf Centre and I'm going to give you one of the main tips that I see to try and help stop your slice. Now what it is what we classify as a cupped lead wrist. Now what do I mean by a cupped lead wrist? Is when we get to the top of our backswing, the lead arm or the lead hand, what happens is when we get to the top, that left wrist is what we get, what we classify as getting cupped. And when that gets cupped, what we tend to see is that club face getting a little bit open. Now, if I just demonstrate here, I'm going to get to the top of my backswing and my lead wrist is cupped, straight bowed, so cupped. When I start coming down into my downswing, what will tend to happen is this club face is going to be extremely open. So it's going to take a lot of manipulation to try and get that club face to square back up at impact. And again, I just want to clarify, there's some great players on tour, males and females, who tend or have made a lot of money and been very successful with a cupped left wrist. They tend to have longer swings that go a little bit over or across the line, a little bit longer than parallel. And the reason why that can be beneficial for some people, why they can make it work, is because they have more time to react through impact. But for the majority of players out there, especially the golfers that slice the golf ball, if you notice when you get to the top of your backswing that your lead wrist is cupped, this is going to be a great drill for you, okay? So you're going to grab your golf club all the way down towards the head, and then from here you're going to take your setup just like normal and you're going to go all the way to the top of your backswing. Now what you're going to notice, and I want you to have a look at, is what's happening with that lead wrist. What position is it in? Is it cupped? Is it flat? Or is it bowed? Now what we're going to try to do for this drill specifically is we want to try and get it a little bit bowed. So we want to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum to see what happens to direction and see if we can cut out that slicing action. So once again, we take our setup, we get to the top of the backswing, we're going to see if we can get that lead wrist a little bit bowed versus cupped, and then we're going to play around with that a few times. You can then take your normal setup, get to the top of your backswing, and we're going to have a look again. What does it feel like to manipulate that lead wrist? How do we get that feeling of that lead wrist not being cupped? And then we're going to put that into basically a few swings. So we get to the top of our backswing, we swing down and through, and you can even hit some shots by doing a static motion just like that. So if I demonstrate here, we're not going to hit it too aggressive. Top. Get the feeling of how to kind of get that position, because the reason why we want to do this is because if we just take our normal setup and go straight to the top of the backswing after we've done a few of these, let's say half a dozen of these, more than likely you're going to go back to cupping your lead wrist. So feel free to stop, adjust if you need, swing down and through, and what's going to tend to happen is you'll tend to have a path that is a little less over the top and a club face that is a little squarer, if not even a little closed, which again is very different than that over the top slicing action which we tend to get. So as I said, this is one of the most common faults I see, and if you can be one of those players out there that can diagnose this on yourself, have a look on camera, see where you're at with that lead wrist and try and fix it with this drill. You're going to be well on your way to helping improve your slicing action and getting that golf ball to go straighter and further, lowering your scores. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channels. Keep up to date with all the latest tips and information. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I'll speak to you soon.